Hey TikTok, hey YouTube, how are we going today? I am going to do a little bit of work on this Gila monster. Hopefully, I don't think we're that far off finishing it. I just have to sort of do this little section here and then it's pretty much done. And then, yeah, just see if there's any like bits and pieces that need a little bit of lift. So possibly this one. And yeah, then I'll move on to some more sculpting. So I've sort of mapped out where I want these scales to be, and I've sort of started here. You can see the difference, the ones that I've done to this work here, which is just super flat. So yeah, just a little bit more work to do. So they sort of start off with like an oblong sort of shape, and then they sort of start going round like a dome towards the end. So I got to sort of change it up as I go along. So they got quite a lot of detailing in their scale work. You know, if the chameleon wasn't enough, why not do a Gila monster? These scales are very prominent. So these ones I can sort of start rounding, and I'm using this little paddle tool, which has like a flat back on it. It's not quite a spoon, but it's sort of like more of a paddle, and it's really good for creating circles. Which I did all of the preliminary pattern work using some plastic and just my needle tool to go around it. Hey everybody on TikTok. This is what I'm working on. Little Gila monster. Thanks for the likes. And I'm using Sculpey Original, which is like a softer polymer clay. Just because I like working with soft clays. It's not necessarily a good or a bad thing. It's just my, preference with things. But yeah, that's what I like doing. So I'm sort of in two minds about what to start sculpting next as well. I've got two more cats to sculpt for my Action Cat series. I've got some reference images ready on my computer for when I finish this. But I also need to do a lot of sculpting with some paws. So I need to sculpt a lot of paws for my lions and my little yawning kitty. So I'm in sort of two minds about what to do next. I would like to get the heads done. And I do have reference images. So the next head I'm going to do is a pooping cat. Hey, Willa. I never get that right. How are you today? Or the Zoomies cat. Thank you for the follow, Pinky. Much appreciated. I mean, obviously I'm going to do both of them, but yeah, it's either Zoomies or pooping or cat paws. So here's where I'm going to start turning it into like a dome shape. Sorry about that. Thanks for the follow, Sharky. And scribbles. Much appreciated, guys. Yeah, so got a couple of options to do. Maybe I'll make a start on the kitty cat, the pooping cat, just because I've got the reference images on my computer. which I've sort of blown up to size. Okay, so probably start rounding these ones here. If anyone's got any questions, feel free to ask. Happy to have a chat. Sorry, I'm a little bit phlegmy. I just had my lunch, so sometimes you get phlegmy. So hopefully this doesn't take me too long to get done. I don't think it will. And I'm just running my finger over the top of it just to sort of start smoothing out those any creases. And start rounding. And I'm going to do the body the same way I did the chameleon as well. I thought the Gila monster would be a good candidate for that. Your name is Via? Is that how you pronounce it? Via? Thanks for the likes. Via. Yo. Jim Jam Slam. Jim Jam. Like Jim Jam. Jim Jam Slam. What's going on? Did I say Via? Via. So terrible. Total mental blank. Okay, where am I? And just rounding them. Yeah. Not much. Do you ever get the one to try and animate? Yeah, I do heaps of I've been doing heaps of stop motion, so I got heaps of videos on my page. Hey, what are you making? I'm sculpting it's called a Gila monster. So I'm just doing the scale work, just sort of trying to finish him off. But I make art dolls basically. Like fake taxidermy pieces, better describes it. But yeah, I'm just doing all the scale work for the Gila monster. And then I'm not far off finishing it. And then I'm going to start some more sculpting, some more pieces. Yeah, no problems. I do them pretty regularly. Thanks for the follow. I just posted one yesterday, but there's a whole kind of story with that one I posted yesterday. It's a medieval cat one, but I want to do a video of all the sort of stories put together. But yeah, it's kind of like just it's a bit silly. It's a bit of a silly story. They're just a bit like silly dolls that I decided to do after wanting to do them for a while. Yeah, it does look like a snake head, but it's not quite. It's not quite a snake head. It's a Gila monster. Your name's Axilla. Axilla. Axella. Axisella. I am an Aussie, yes. I'm from Melbourne. Not many of us around, I have to say. But yes, I am. Melbs. That pretentious state. Same. Nice one. Thanks for the follow. It's better coffee, right? What do you make? I make art dolls. So kind of like fake taxidermy pieces. It's a little chameleon that I finished not too long ago. And yeah, just working on a couple of new dolls. So I'm sculpting all the scales for the Gila monster. All the cool chicks from Melbourne. Brizzy, yeah, no, I don't know. I'm not a Queensland fan. Sorry, I'm just not. The weather, just like a lot of things about it. A lot of people aren't Melbourne fans either, so which is understandable. Oh, thank you. Does have better coffee though, I have to say. You can't judge, can't dispute that. Are they statues? No, they're actually posable, so you can move them around. They've got an armature inside, so you can pose them in certain ways. All the skin texture, all individual. But yeah, they're just like posable art dolls. So I'm in the middle of making a few things. So I've got 2 male and a female lion. Guess which one's the female? Yeah, male and a female lion. So I have to put all of them together. I've also got, yes, one of my action cat series. It's a little yawning cat. So I do sell them. I have a shop. And I'm currently doing a commission for a leopard seal, a smaller one. This one's going to have a movable jaw. I haven't quite done the joint for it yet, but yeah, just working on. I finished all the dolls that I was working on, so yeah, I'm doing a whole lot of sculpting to get my pieces ready to make a few more. So I like working on a couple of dolls at the same time. Sometimes there's a lot of waiting around for things to, dry, waiting for materials, all that sort of stuff. So I like to work on a few things at once. Hence the big sculpting lot that I'm doing at the moment. How much? They are expensive, yes. It's very time consuming. The chameleon took about 30 hours to do. So they generally take between 20 and 30 hours, and materials are quite expensive too. So they can range anywhere from, my prices are in US, by the way, because I don't have hardly any Australian customers, and people from America don't understand different currencies. So it was just easier to do it in US. So they start, between 480 and 680, just depending on the complexity. But generally it's about 550 to 580. I like the roundabout prices. But yeah, I just got so over trying to explain that there's different currencies to the Americans. And then they would always ask for me to convert it. Just do it yourself. It's not that hard. So that's the reasoning behind that one. To hold their hand sometimes. Not bad. Yeah, it takes a long time to make these. I've been doing this for about 13 years as well. So there's a whole lot of different years of experience out there. I spend a bit more time on these days as well. I used to do a lot more fantasy stuff when I first started, which I still do, but just not as often. I do more realistic things now. That's kind of like what I like doing, so that's what we do these days. But I've been doing a bit more silly things. What was my first one? They didn't look like this. They looked more, they were sort of more like a teddy bear plush with the a clay face. They didn't have an armature in it or anything, but it was a white tiger with orange stripes, which I am thinking about remaking that one day into, like, obviously my new improved skills. I'd like to remake it one day, just that design. But yeah, of course it was a tiger. Tigers are my favorite animals, so that was the chosen one to begin with. But yeah, I've been on a quest to do all of the big cats as well, so I've done most of them. The lions are sort of one of the last ones to do. But yeah, I haven't done like the medium-sized cats, like the caracal and all that, a lynx. So they'll be on the to-do list as well, because you can't get enough of doing cats. And I wanted to do a golden tiger after these lions. Maybe an Amur leopard. What's the shop name? It's Creatures and Nats, so the link is in my bio as well. I've got links to everything on there. It takes you to like a landing page where all my links are. But yeah, link to my shops there. I've got a few dolls looking for homes on there. Some are sold out, some aren't. But yeah, Creatures of Nat, same name as my name here. But yeah, so I've got a couple of dolls coming up. The chameleon I just put up on, it was Friday, something like that. One of them, not that long ago. But yeah. All right, so you can see I've done all this bit, and you can see the difference from the bits that I haven't done back here. It's just flat. But yeah. What is my most popular one? I can make anything really. I've done a lot of wolves in my time. But people's pets as well are quite popular. So I've had a lot of commissions for people's like bereavement dolls. So a lot of rats and a lot of ferrets. But yeah, surprisingly, I've never made a pig before, but that would be a nice, interesting one to make. To have a think about what type of material to use for a pig. Like a pink pig or like a teacup sort of pig. Because I think like a mohair would work really well for something like that. But pigs are pretty cute. Or like a boar. I'm trying to make, obscure animals that people don't really know much about, just to bring some awareness to the type of animals that are out there and like their importance to the ecosystem and stuff. That was my goal. You love rats and my friend loves pink pigs. Yeah, rat people are really into their rats, I've discovered. They love it. They love their rats. I've made a fair few rats. But yeah, ferret people are equally into their ferrets. Made a lot of rabbits, cats, dogs, squirrel. Someone wanted a squirrel that they were like a regular visitor to them. Yeah, most types of pets. I have neglected the old sea creatures and reptiles, hence the reason why I'm doing some more reptiles and sea creatures these days. What is your least favorite to do? Rats. Yeah, I'm not a fan of doing the rats, surprisingly. Rodents, I personally find rodents kind of hard to sculpt because their faces are like really particular. They're very similar to each other, but there's like really subtle differences that you have to capture. Otherwise, it's going to end up looking like a completely different rodent. and what you're trying to do. So yeah, I find rodents kind of hard. And there's like, such subtle differences between a rat and a mouse as well. So yeah, I find them really hard to sculpt. Can I see one of your rats? They've all been sold. I don't have any rats on me, but I do have pictures on my website. They should be under commissions. But yeah, they've all been sold. I don't have any rats on me. How time consuming is it? Usually between 20 and 30 hours, 20 and 35 hours, just depending. Is your favorite art doll? Yes, I did make that lizard. Yes. It's a chameleon. Did the skin on it. It's nice and textured, and it's all hand painted as well to, yeah. It sounds hard. You adore my, oh, thank you. Oh, thanks. You guys are nice. Stop. Okay. Yeah, so we've just been like experimenting this year with doing dolls that are like way out of my comfort zone. So, lizards. That was I did a lot of trial and error for that skin. A lot of experimenting, a lot of sort of brainstorming what would work. But yeah. Oh, thank you. You guys are nice. But yeah, I'll do more medieval animals. The last time when I'd finished the medieval cats, I did 3 of them. There was a few people asking if I'd do medieval dogs, which, yeah, I might. So my idea was for the next one to do 2 medieval cats and 1 medieval dog, and then with the stop motions, I'd sort of pick on the dog a little bit with the cats. Just silly, just silly sort of thing. You know how cats are with dogs. So that was sort of my idea. I got an idea of what I want the dog to look like, just to keep the dog people happy. Have you done dogs? Yes, I've done a few dogs in my time. I just recently, a couple of months ago, did a pug for someone. So that was my most recent dog. And it was almost life-size, so they wanted a really big one. I'm trying to keep my art dolls quite small these days. The big ones are really hard to handle and work with. I've only got limited space, and it takes up a lot of material, and it's just, yeah. I'm not a big fan of making really big ones. I like the little ones. But yeah, I've done an Irish wolfhound. I've done a lot of huskies, a lot of wolves, heaps of wolves. They're probably the most that I've done are wolves, even though they're not your stock standard domestic dog. Chihuahuas, done a few chihuahuas. It's off the top of my head. Can't remember anything else. It's been a long time. Made a lot of things in my time. So, yeah, be nice to make a few more dogs. I want to make a borzoi, they've got really long noses, or a silky. That would be a cool doll. Maybe that hairless dog, that would be cool. But yeah, dogs aren't really on my high priority list at the moment. If I get commissions for them, obviously I'd do it. But they're not, up there. Up on the priority list. Almost finished this. Which one was I doing? Lost my spot. This one. Okay. Did everyone just bail? We're having a good conversation here. I thought we were all getting along. Alright. Now, got some armatures ready as well for my next lot of sculptures. Probably because you came in. Ugh, jeez. Bad aura. It's that guy again. I'm still working on this. Just this section to do, and then that's it for this one. Then I can bake it. I really can't be bothered sculpting paws. I'm ignoring it. That's a future me problem. When I'm ready to put the dolls together and be like, I don't have any paws. How dare you? I think I should do stretching. Stretchy hands for that one, which is kind of a pain to sculpt. We'll see. Hey, Dark Nook Monster Shop, how are you? I'm not going to bother with this bit back here. It's going to be covered in fabric. I'm hoping. Maybe. I can always add it later. Blend it in with the other median. It's a Gila monster. So kind of looks like a shingleback as well. Like, no, look at it, but that's what they look like. It's a Gila monster. So I don't know how many people know of a Gila monster, to be honest, but they're pretty cool black and orange lizards. Your stream just popped up on my feed. Well, that's good. At least it's feeding it out to someone. Just trying to finish this sculpt. I try and pick animals that people might not know. But yeah, a lot of people think it's a snake, but I guess it could be like an adder. Snakes don't have chunky heads like that, unless it's an adder. Thanks for the follow. I do like a good adder. Adders and vipers. I think they're my favorites. And then like a green tree boa. I think they're pretty cool. Python, sorry. Green tree python, they're really cool. Maybe one day. Ever see one in real life? Yeah, one of the zoo here has one. So they're pretty cool. They got a veiled chameleon in there too. I took heaps of photos of it. Just for reference, you know. Death adder. It looks like one. Maybe one day I'll get there. You just Googled it. You think you've seen pics of them before? Yeah, they're like slightly venomous. Slightly. I don't know if it's slightly, but they're, yeah. You don't want to pick them up. But they're cute. Just make a non-venomous one. I'll make one that you can handle. But yeah, I'd like to do some experimenting with the snake skin with this same method. Crazy. But it needs to be done. I need to do it. I need to unlock the snake skin. It's just like been in the back of my mind for forever, is to make a realistic snake skin. I'm just going to have to do it. After all these. Can't just... too many projects on the go. They have, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't want to handle them. That's for sure. I'm going to assume they're here. Actually, haven't read where their venom stuff is. Gland, let's call it. Yes, they are. They are definitely Komodo dragons. I would really like to make a Komodo dragon. Yeah, I would assume here because it's puffy. Yeah, I have a soft spot for Komodo dragons. I think it's just because they're called dragons. But I thought the colouring would be really cool to do. You want a Komodo dragon? Apparently my local zoo has one and I haven't bloody seen it yet. Like, how have I not seen it? I'll just make one. How about that? No, absolutely not. A frilled neck would be pretty cool to make. Stop giving me ideas to make more reptiles. It was fun though. I enjoyed the painting. I think that was my favourite aspect of it. I'm not going to bother with that one. That's we covered surely. Yeah. So close. See, just this little section here to do. Exactly. They're nuts. And their little forked tongues. I'd like to do that. The tongues I'm not quite sure, because I don't really want to work with silicons and latexes. I don't want to mix it and do it. It drives me nuts. So I've been trying to find like alternatives for that type of thing. I don't want to make... I like making molds, but it's just so time consuming and expensive. So I've been trying to find like alternative ways to do things that aren't with silicons and resins, latexes. So I'm still sort of wondering the best ways to do tongues. Not sure. Silicons and resins. I used to do all my dolls. I used to sculpt it out of monster clay and then mold them and cast them in resin. But it's just, I got over it really. I wanted to sculpt more things, and I didn't really want to remake the same face over and over, if that makes sense. It's just so expensive. Silicon's just insane. So I don't really do it anymore. Sometimes mold making drives me nuts too. Especially when you do like a complex thing. You gotta work out where to put the vents and stuff. That drives me nuts. And I'm like such a half-ass molder as well. Oh, alternative. Yeah, okay. That's cool. I'm going to experiment with making some bird feathers. I have an idea of what I want to do. I just need the time to experiment with it. So, got to pick a bird and have a play around with making the feathers. But I think I normally do like a felt and do like each feather out of felt. But I find it's not realistic enough for me. Like it looks good, but I want it more. I want more. I want more realistic. So, yeah. So I haven't quite decided what bird to do. I'm sort of tossing up between the secretary bird, which that has its own complexities in itself. Their legs are so thin. That's just going to be a total pain in the ass. In every way possible. I've always wanted to make a hyacinth macaw as well. They're really cool. A palm cockatoo, that'll be cool. Have you tried foam clay? Yeah, I have tried foam clay. I've done a fair few things with it. Not like a huge fan, but it is good for some things. Yeah, okay. It's not bad. I don't mind it. Should do a raptor with it. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I haven't like dinosaur thing. Yeah, I like it, but I don't know. Maybe I'll dedicate like next year to making like prehistoric things. Megafauna. I do want to do a saber-toothed cat, though. Thanks for the follow, guys. Don't. Maybe me. Maybe. If you're lucky. Need a plan for next year. It's only like 6 months away. Isn't that nuts? Maybe megafauna. Introduce megafauna next year. It's just because there's someone else that does dinosaurs and like a kind of such rudeness. My daughter called me rude yesterday. She said, "Stop being rude." I'm like, sorry. Pull you up on it. That's it. I got lost in the car. I got lost in the car. She's like, "Where are we going?" I'm like, "I don't know." I'm terrible with directions for context. That's it. Nothing like getting told off by a 2-year-old. Get a life lesson from a 2-year-old. Yeah, there's just another artist that does like dinosaurs and sort of that's what's turned me off making them. I don't want to like seem like a copier, if that makes sense, even though it's not. But if someone's doing something, it sort of turns me off it. So that's why I went like a completely weird direction with medieval cats and action cats. Just go ultra weird. Thanks, Jasmine. Yeah, it's just like pretty much predominantly what they do. So I'm like, I can always make a dragon, right? But they don't really do megafauna, so that's why I thought maybe go within a megafauna area. Like I've been wanting to make the saber-toothed cat for a while, but it's just not like high priority list. But yeah. I'd just make weird pooping cats instead. Ruffle some feathers. This one's for the dog people. It's not like you're going to be committing to that one thing. Yeah. I'll work it out. I'll probably get into a zone. I'll be like, no, I want to make this. I picked the hardest thing to make. The hardest dinosaur to make. I'm going to make a pleurodon with a movable jaw. And I'm going to do a stop motion of it swimming. There's an idea. A giant sloth. It would be good. I've made one sloth before, but it wasn't a realistic one. It was like a fantasy colored one. But I would like to make a 3-toed sloth one day. Just chuck it on the to-do list. Thanks for the share. And a woolly mammoth, that would be cool. Dare I make a dire wolf? I honestly thought dire wolf was just like a Game of Thrones thing. That's a shameful admission. Like, oh, it's actually called that. I don't know where my head has been. I've made Ghost, though. I've made 2 of them for people, before, from Game of Thrones. Except it wasn't it was a nice, gentle face ghost. William in Texas here. Another great piece. Is kind of like a part-time job. Does it correlate with another job? Yeah, I have like I work 3 days a week and I do this for the other days. Well, with what little time I have these days. But yeah, I've been doing this for 13 or so years now, so I guess you could call it a job. Let's not call it a job though. Let's call it something that I enjoy doing. Do you find that you have... Yeah, so I'm gonna have to do I'm gonna have to find like a happy medium, because obviously my fingers have been all over the top of it. So it's like a little smoothed out, but it's just gonna be a happy medium. You know, I'm trying to be gentle here. Otherwise, you could stick it on a post or something and go around it. I'm not too concerned about this. It could do with a little bit of smoothing, let's put it that way. I should stand up when I do it. Yeah, I want to stand. Standing. Ugh. I run around after a 2-year-old for the rest of the day, so if I can sit, perfect. Pop it on a stand. Ah, that's what you meant. Yeah. I will. I have to insert a little thing for an armature in there, which I probably should have done before I started doing all the details. But you're not too concerned. Animals aren't perfect, I've found, so little characteristics are good to have. Sometimes their scale's got like little nicks and stuff in it, from what I've found looking at the reference images. I think it's looking almost done. That's what we got. Wow, you're fantastic. Thank you. You're off. In my off time, you watch YouTube. It's good. I usually do some lives a few times a week. Just what I'm working on, nothing. It's just more of a chill out, you know. Not one of those lives that's like, click the like, smash the like button. Smash the like, don't forget to share, comment, like, all that stuff. Go, 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 go. Okay. I'll stop being mean. It's just a bit weird. Like, why do you want to watch that? All right. I think it's looking pretty good. Just go over these little tiny bits here. Other than that, oops. Look, I just put a gash in it. How dare they? Clumsy. Watch where you're swinging that. Get this little tool here. I'm just going to redo the nostrils a tiny bit. Sometimes you can sort of flatten them while you're working. Got my little thing here. Try not to squash the work that I've done. Just doing a little hole so I can put the armature in a bit later. Okay. I think it's looking pretty good. I've got a little silicone tool that you can just go over as well. Some areas that look like they need to be smoothed out. This one's a lifesaver, this tool. think that's as bad as Gila monstery as we can get. Come on, chat, let's go. Smash the like button, send those gifts. I want a TikTok Galaxy gift. Send it. You're bad. I don't know why you want to. It's literally just them asking for money, right? But they get views. That's the thing. That's what TikTok pushes. Ain't no sculpting one. They're not pushing that. They're not pushing the weirdo that makes cats and other animals. All right, I'm calling that. I reckon it's about done. Let's clean up this little section here. Yeah, exactly. Wonder if they make like a livable wage off that. All right, here's the little Gila monster. Super cute. It's the texture. All right, just going to put that aside. All right, what are we making next? Got some armature pieces. And I've got some pooping cat pictures. Now, I haven't decided what kind of cat to do, like what breed. I don't know. I haven't decided. So that's sort of, I don't know. I need to make it small. And what eyes? Oh, you love the dog. The dog? I haven't made a dog. Just want a kitty. This is a kitty. Or a lion. Lion. Right, what eyes should we use for poopy cat? Color eyes, I don't know. I'm thinking these ones because I'm going to do kind of squinty eyes anyway. So I don't want to waste these ones, if that makes sense. And then the Zuni's eyes. So I think I'm going to go with these ones. What kitty has this colored eyes? Golden eyes. Should do the thing. Falcor. Yeah. Surprisingly, nobody's asked for that. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, surprisingly, nobody's asked for that. I've seen there's a lot of other people that have done one, some that are really crap. Not to be judgmental, but you know. But I know AliExpress like rips that off something shocking. Should I do a long nose cat or a flat flatter-nosed cat. Gold eyes. It's going to be a small cat. I didn't know what this one's going to be. No. No. I don't even know if I've seen Neverending Story, to be honest. Maybe it's like suppressed from childhood trauma. I don't know. Let's have a look. Cat with gold eyes. Maybe we can, figure something out there. In the meantime, maybe I should condition some clay. It's a black cat. I don't want to do a black cat, no. You haven't seen it? Yeah, I know. I reckon I have. I don't know. I don't think I was that into it. Controversial as well. I don't like Star Wars and I don't like Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings, I couldn't do it. I had to turn it off. It's like, I can't do this. It's just shit. All right. Cat with gold eyes. It's a lot of black cats. I could do like a tawny, maybe. I could do a white cat, like a fluffy white cat. Maybe we can do a fluffy white cat. Tricky. I don't know. Look up red-eyed crocodiles. Ink. Monkeys. Okay. All right, I will, just for you. They are cute, aren't they? They look like little thorns. They are cute. I'll give you that. I have seen them before. I couldn't off the top of my head. And the basilisk is really cool too. I think I just like the name though. All right. No problem. Thanks for stopping by. All right, let's go fluffy white cat. Maybe. So undecided. It's hard to find a cat with these gold-colored eyes. There's a lot of black cats. Should put this little skink in there. I mean, Gila monster. Anyway, okay. Yeah. My reference images. I would like to bulk that one out a little bit. So I'm going to pinch some foil and just sort of bulk this bit out here a little bit. So I use aluminium foil for basically an armature, if that makes sense. Break it in half. There we go. Just bulk that out a little bit more. Maybe I'll do like a ginger cat. Just wanting to make a bit of a rounder head. So I don't want it as thin as this one, I don't think. But I'm going to, yeah. I think what I'm going to do, I could do sort of like a gingery cat. People into gingers? I don't know. So it's always good to have like a solid armature base. It makes the sculpting a lot easier and a lot quicker if you can follow like a good base. It's kind of, I always leave a little bit of a little bit thinner here, so I have a bit of room to play with the muzzle area and also where I'm going to add the nose, because cats have like quite a thin muzzle unless you've got like a flatter one. So yeah, I always like to leave the armature a bit thinner around the muzzle bit. So I've got a couple of different breeds of cat on here, which doesn't really work that well. But because this is going to be a poopy face as well, so this muzzle bit needs to be sort of pushed together a little bit. Silly. Okay, so I've got my polar clay. These are the eyes I'm going to use. I've got a smaller one here as well. So I think it's looking good. Give me 2 seconds. I just want to do a little film quickly. I'm just going to pause the live for a sec. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, sorry, we're back. All right, so I'm going to cover this with the polymer clay. Of course, this battery is dead. So I do some filming as well for my YouTube. So I film the process, and my battery is dead in the camera. So the last time I took the battery out of the camera, it fell in my my glass of water. It was just like directly out and in there. Like, what are the chances of that? Here's one of my medieval cats in the process. So complete with Bart, Hull. Should put that in the background just for the lols. So that's one of my medieval cats as well. Okay, we're ready to go. Now, covering this in polymer clay. So I'm using Sculpting Original, which is a bit of a softer clay, is because I like smushing the clay around when I work with it. But yeah, there's no right or wrong way to sculpt things. It's just, you know, how I like to sculpt. Some people like to do the opposite, sort of carve bits of clay, but I like smushing it around a little bit. My favourite thing to work with is monster clay, but it's a wax-based clay, so it doesn't go hard or anything. You just really only use it for sculpting something to mould and cast in resin. So yeah, it doesn't always work. Okay, so I've got a bit more of a rounded face for this one. I'm just going to clean it up a bit and get a bit of an understanding of where I want things to go. So I firstly just sort of build up a really basic structure of a face. And I use the armature for many reasons. So it basically creates like a form to work from, and it keeps the use of polymer clay down as well. So if you have it too thick, when you bake it, the heat doesn't penetrate, so the inside doesn't bake or go hard. So, and it's really heavy too, so it keeps the weight down. There's many reasons. So I'm really just going to go with the flow here, and whatever sort of face turns out, right? So going for a bit more of a flatter head. This one's got a bit more of a peak, so it's giving me kitten vibes for this one. So going for a different sort of structure with this one. Yeah. So I'll have to build on the muzzle area. So this needs to be bigger. So funnily enough, I have some pictures on my computer of cats pooping. So that's what we need to do. All right. So I'm going to add a little bit onto the sides of the head here. Just a little bit to begin with. Because I want more of like a squarish sort of head, if that makes sense. Sort of more like a, let's say like a British short hair kind of head, or a Scottish fold kind of head, but not particularly that breed. So just sort of pulling that out a little bit on this side here. And a little bit on this side. The ears will go here anyway. I'm going to put the ears sort of a little bit pushed back as well. I've been enjoying sculpting inside of mouths. So So I quite enjoyed sculpting this one. Okay. Just trying to build up the structure here. Oh, thanks. So I get an image of a Scottish fold, but on a side view. Don't want it that squishy. Maybe sort of kind of, I don't know. No, I shouldn't do that one. I was going to go for this one to be fluffy. Thanks for the share. Hey, Alondra. Alright, I'm just going to do a quick little video. I'm just going to pause the live for a second. Just sit tight. Keep getting restrictions for content. So anyway, all right. So we want. I'm just going to map out a few things here. So we want the middle here. We want a nose about there. And the eyes are going to go about here. Really rough kitty cat expression. So I'm going to do the lower jaw. I usually start with the lower jaw and then I work my way up with the details. Oh, thank you for the heart, me. So the jaw, kitty cats have like quite small jaws. So I've got a little piece of clay, which I'm going to roughly shape into a jaw. Now, because this is a poopy face, I kind of have to do these bits puckered a little bit, and when I do the whiskers, I'm going to point them sort of forward. to pull that over a little bit, and I'm going to put it here. Thanks for the share. There's a bit of hair in there. Let's get that out. That's a problem when you work with faux furs. It's just like hair. There's a hair in there. And some dust as well. All right. So I'm just going to blend this really roughly into the back here. And that'll be sort of the start of the jaw line. So it looks a bit funny at the moment. I haven't done the rest of it. But it's all about getting shape. So I'll probably do a really tiny lip line because it's going to be covered anyway. I'm just going to roll out a tiny lip line here. So put it there. And I'll just blend that bit in. It's not going to be seen anyway. So it's just going to be like this tiny little triangle bit that'll be seen. Good night. Thanks for the support. All right. Sort of getting there. Okay, now for just going to pause the live to do a quick little video of this step. Just give me 2 seconds. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so we're going to do the little muzzle flappy areas, and I want them to be kind of chunky. And they need to sort of be pushed forward a little bit because it's a pooping cat, remember? So I've rolled out 2 bits of clay, roughly the same size. So that way we get the same size little muzzle bit. And then what I like to do is sort of shape it before I put it on. And what I normally do to begin with is do a nose, actually. So I'm going to probably stick a nose on here. So what I'll do is going to add a tiny bit of clay here just to get it sort of prepared for where I want the nose to sit. And I'm going to look at my reference images. More this side. I have to sort of bulk that bit up here too. But so for the nostril, I get a tiny bit of Sculpting Original, just enough for a nose. It's beautiful, thank you. So I like to use Super Sculpey for noses, which is kind of like a beige thing. So it's kind of, it is this, which I've used for this nose, which I'm going to end up painting anyway, because I've decided to do this a blue Siamese kitten. But I've also changed the color of the inside of the jaw with just like a tiny bit of red paint. So Now, I've got a tiny little bit, so I basically shape it with my fingers into a rough nose shape. Now, cat noses are quite small and they go around. They sort of wrap around the muzzle. So I'm just going to remove a little bit, too much. So what I'll do is I'm going to put this where I want the nose to go. Just going to wrap. Not too concerned about the structure of it just yet because I'll need to add details. So I always add a little bit more clay than what I'm going to go with because I end up just sort of sculpting it back a little bit. So we want that to go down just a tiny bit here, and then it sort of comes out. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark where I want the nose to go. So just with my needle tool. The cats have quite small noses compared to things like lions that have really big noses. Cats are really quite petite nose. They've kind of got like a little heart-shaped nose as well. So that excess, I'm just going to pull back a little bit. So we're sort of creating the nose there. All right. So middle of the nose here has like a little, sort of like a little indentation there. And then for the nostrils, I use a little ball tool. So I'm going to go in sort of to the side a little bit. And to this side. And then, so this little kick here, and then same deal here. So that sort of creates a nose, and we'll have to add more refining to this bit here, but that's, I'll do that soon. I always end up fiddling around with the nose a little bit to get to a spot that I like. Sometimes they're a little bit too big here, so I'm just going to bring that down a little bit, and sort of back a little bit. So I wanted that a bit smaller here. Same deal here, so I'm just going to bring that down like that. But just blend this bit in a little bit, like so. Okay. Nice little tiny nose. But yeah, I'll have to build up, obviously, the rest of the head. But we're just working on the lower half to begin with for a nice solid base. Right. Okay, I'm just going to pause the live. Give me 2 seconds. All right. Anyway, back to the little muzzle bit. So I want this muzzle to sort of be a little chunky muzzle, right? So what I'm going to do is roughly shape it. And this will be the area that the other side butts up to. And it to be bigger. So sort of kind of shape it while it's on there. Now, for the bit that butts up to the nose, I like to sort of just push this bit into shape so it contours against the nose a bit better. That's what nails are for. Gets in there nicely. All right, so for this muzzle, it sort of needs to be pushed forward a little bit, like they're puckering. So I'm going to start blending, sort of moving this around. This is why I like using soft clays, because I like to sculpt by moving my clay around. And I'm going to blend this tiny bit here. So, and I'm just pushing this forward. Normally I'd push it back. If it was a normal sort of cat face, I'd push it back, but this one needs to pucker a little bit. So I'm just pulling it forward. And do the other side. Again, I'm going to shape it. I can sort of start shaping it a bit better here. So sort of blend it in, and again get my fingernail and just smooth that bit up to the nose. I'll clean this up later, but and blend that little section out there. I'm going to remove. Thanks for the follow. I'm going to remove a bit of clay here. It's too thick. Just a little bit. what I might do, I'm not really happy where that nose is sitting, so what I might do, I'm going to cut it off, reposition it. I want it to sit up on top, and it's not, so I'm going to do that and stick a bit of clay in there. Like that. So sometimes you just have to reposition things if you're not happy with it. That's all it needed. Thank you for the share and the follow, all that stuff. So I just need to do a little playing around to get like a puckering look to it. So let's pull this little detail out there, because I still want the muzzle to have a definition here, but we want a pucker. So what I might do, like that. Okay, the ridge. In here. Okay. All right, so what's the time? All right, I'm going to have to leave it here. So YouTube, I'll catch you next time.